Let's call our meeting to order, Wednesday, March 20th. It is now 7:02. Roll call, please.
Just for a point of order, I did hear from Owen, he will not be at the meeting at all.
Okay,
So disregard the email from earlier.
alrighty.
Dan Cheek,
Here.
Jeff Goings,
Here.
Don Sattler,
Here.
Aaron Zito,
Here.
Austin Davies,
Here.
Betsy Straw, here, David Howe, Karina Boyd.
All right, let's stand for a pledge of allegiance, please.
To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's see, we have no phone participation for tonight. And we have a motion to approve the agenda for tonight.
I have a question about the agenda.
Yes.
Because I can't get from what Katie sent out, the totals don't match for the, AP payments?
We need a motion and a second
All right,
before we start.
so before we approve the agenda, you want to make a motion to,
Well, we need a motion just to,
oh,
so
Okay.
the motion is
Oh.
just to start discussion on the agenda.
gotcha, okay. We got a motion to begin discussion on approval of the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda.
Okay, we got a motion by Dan,
Second.
and a second by Austin. And go ahead and ask your question.
So,
Here, put my phone on
I got
silent.
something from Katie last week. Well, there were no totals, so we got a check register with no totals. So in totaling it, from Me King et al., it doesn't total up to the 677, so.
Here's the microphone. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
So there's 23, 744, 53 is correct. The 17, 487, 41 is correct. And the 635, 819, 29 is correct. 480. It's a grand total of 677, 51, 84 cents.
So,
I'm not sure what you're adding.
so then we must not have gotten in the packet all the numbers? All the sheets?
What sheets?
I got a check register last week. I don't have anything in my,
Check register, there was what for checks that was cut last month, not this month.
no, not in the packet. I looked it was in an email, but in the packet it was from, you're right, it was from last month. So when did we receive the totals for the 677?
It's not given out, we have it as your invoice register that I was sent out, but that doesn't total everything either. You don't get a complete checklisting until the following month when everything is paid. Because we don't have payroll in there,
So we're approving things to be paid, okay. But we can't see the line items to be approved.
that's part of the invoice register that you were getting from Katie yesterday.
Yesterday.
They're all in there.
I don't know that I got anything from Katie yesterday.
Yesterday or the day before.
The thing was, 2 days ago, we got some invoices, for 1 month.
Right, but you are the checks that is gonna be approved tonight. That's on that register.
That's the 17,487 or the 635?
Well, it will be the 635.
819.
Okay. I just, it doesn't, I don't think I got that, so. Okay.
So,
Jeff, did you review it all in
I did.
total?
I did. I came in, I was gonna do a little thing once we approve the, agenda. I did come in on Monday. I met with Karina from 4 PM to 5:15, an hour and 15 minutes. I went through all the billing, I went through all the payroll with her. She answered all my questions, and then Tuesday, I spoke with David to get all my questions answered about the things that he's purchased. He explained everything to me, because I had one question about a truck repair. It was, instead of it being two separate invoices, they combined the invoices for $4,000 and some odd change. But I did speak with both department heads, and then I also asked Karina to create a sheet going forward that shows that I've met with her, and then I will have David be verbal with me, unless you guys would like to, but I will, every time I come in, I'll have a time sheet here that I spend with Karina going through everything, and then we both will sign it.
Can you note to us any of the questions that you asked, because they probably would be the same questions we would ask?
I don't have them right in front of me. I don't print them out. I don't have a printer at home. I could pull them up if you like. I could have Carrie scroll down.
But in the future, okay?
Oh, I can do that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That would be really helpful
Absolutely.
to us.
And we have room on here. If you like, I can have this sent out to you by the clerk every time before the meeting. It won't be in the packet, but I could have her send it as a separate email.
Okay.
I could have, after I have the meeting, I could ask Karina to give it to Katie and have her send it out, and I can write a list of questions that I've asked.
Okay.
And then I also asked for Karina to find out, to get into a module for our accounting system, and then I also asked her to come up with a sheet for a purchase request. Like the department heads, it's basically just David and Karina to fill out a purchase request, so that when the invoice comes in, the purchase request is here, it's signed by both of them. But back to my module, I asked her to find out what it would cost, so that we could scan in receipts. Scan in, because instead of going through what we did for Mr. Sadler's audit, and having all of the girls spend time out of regular things that they have to do, this way, we have a scanner, the bill's documented, boom, it's put in a file, it can match a line item, hopefully. It depends on how the module is. Karina explained to me, gave me an idea of how it worked. So this way, there's no copying, so if someone wants something, boom, click, click, it's sent to you immediately.
So it's attached to the
Right.
line item in the
So I've
accounting
also
software.
asked Karina to give me just a ballpark figure of what we've spent from November, from the beginning of President Sadler's audit. Ballpark is very high number, which would probably have paid, and we would have been money ahead if we had this module prior to this, which he has every right to do. So with everything like that, we're, Karina, what did you say? Oh, close to $40,000 in man hours or woman hours, however you wanna call it. And she figured the module could be between $10,000 and $20,000. So if we would have had that module in place, if we would have bought this module 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we would have been $20,000 ahead of the game. I'm not saying it's a waste of taxpayers' money, but this is gonna be part of me doing due diligence as finance chair. And then, like I said, Betsy, if I had any questions, I would come to you. If you guys have any questions, please ask. Please ask an open meeting. There's nothing to hide here. There's nothing. We all need to work together, and I like this all to work together. So if there's any questions, reach out. You have every right to any piece of information in this building, in this village, at any given time. But please do not email and contact our employees on the weekends. They need that time for themselves and their families. But going forward, if there's anything that you want from me, please call me. If leave me a message, or any of the employees, leave them a message and we'll get back. But I just wanted you guys to know that this is what I'll be doing monthly. I'll have these sheets, I wanna get this information, and then we wanna look at, we're gonna have a thing coming up about the purchasing policy, we're gonna have our budget meeting, so, like I said, if there's any questions, just give you an idea of what I'm doing. And I want everything accounted for that I do, and that way, if there's anything to be said, it can come back on me.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
For clarification purposes on the truck, we went in on Monday.
You gotta speak a little bit. David, let's make sure these work, because they worked the other day.
Talk about this during the bills,
Oh, do you wanna wait till we get to bills?
Yeah,
just because it's at work.
Is that okay, David?
yeah, that makes sense.
Sorry, I just,
Okay.
it
Well,
helps
this
with
is
the
just
minutes.
open
If we
discussion
needed to
on
amend
something that we were
anything,
talking-
so if
Yeah.
you're
No,
confident.
you're okay. I just, we're
Okay,
getting into
I'm sorry.
details.
so we don't need to amend anything for the agenda,
I would like to make an amendment if we could.
okay?
I would like to amend the agenda. We don't have any phone participation here. I've been a trustee for 13 years. I would like to see if we could all agree and move closed session to the April 4th meeting and have closed session first thing of the meeting, once we approve the agenda and stuff for the meeting, and discuss what's on tonight's closed session on April 4th, first thing before we go and talk about the budget or anything else. The reason being is, we have a trustee that's not here tonight. Betsy, I thought you were calling in too. I didn't know you were here. I didn't see the second email, and I apologize, but I wanted to make it fair that all of us were here, because in the past years that we've done anything about raises with employees, all the trustees have been present for discussion. So if I could ask that, that's what I'd like to amend the agenda.
Is that your,
Motion to amend it, to move closed session to April 4th meeting and have closed session at the beginning of the meeting, if everybody would be okay with that.
Need a second for discussion?
yes.
Second.
Mr. President, can I have the floor?
Yes, Austin.
I don't think that we should delay this any longer. I think the employees are interested in what is going to be decided, so I think we should take this up tonight. We already postponed it from the last meeting.
All right. Any other comment?
Could we ask the employees, the two of them that are here, department heads, if they would be all right with that?
No, I would prefer it got done tonight, sorry for delaying once, so they talked about for 2 months now. Just my opinion.
Would that put a time crunch on you, Karina, doing it?
It's already a time crunch because I can't do anything with the budget until it's approved. But there's more things, we still have to have our budget meeting too, so,
Which is the 4th, correct?
no, purchase policy.
Purchase policy.
You guys are the board, you do whatever you want.
I would just like to make it so that we all participate in person on April 4th. That's how it's always been done.
When are we doing the budget meeting? Anybody have any ideas? Who's
It's gonna
doing
be,
it?
it's gonna be after the 4th?
Yeah, it has to be
I
after
can't
the
do
4th.
anything with the budget until we have salary information.
And before the 21st, second meeting, that's when we approve it, right? I don't know what
And
April.
I'm gone on vacation for 2 weeks in April, so the budget will not be done until May.
Which is,
It just has to be approved the first quarter of the year.
Then it's gonna be posted for what, 2 weeks, correct? We
No,
gotta,
maybe 10 days, we just have a public hearing.
oh, okay.
I think we continue with the executive session, and if you choose to want to have another one and not put it on as an agenda item, you can so do that, but I think we should still have the executive session.
it's just a request. So you have to vote? No?
Well, it sounds like staff wants to move forward.
Sounds like we should move forward.
I just figured they still have time to contemplate what we discuss on the 4th before the final meeting.
As far as the budget, it wouldn't make any difference if we have it on the floor.
Excuse me, Karina?
The fourth would be,
I'm sorry.
still, it's not, the budget is not gonna be done anyway, so if we wait and have it till the fourth, that is fine with me.
The 4th is okay with you. David said no. we wanna accommodate everybody. I've known, been here a long time, and we've always had all the trustees here in person.
I think we can just keep the agenda the way it is.
I'll call for a vote on the question then.
Shall we,
So you have a motion on the floor for an amendment. You're
Yep.
gonna vote on the amendment.
yep, we need a motion to, move the executive session to the 4th. Roll call.
Austin Davies,
No.
Betsy Straw,
No.
Jeff Goings,
Yes.
Dan Cheek.
No.
All right, 3-1, motion fails. All right.
So now you just have the approval of the agenda as is.
As is, so we have a roll call to approve the agenda as it is, please.
Jeff Goings,
No.
Dan Cheek,
Yes.
Austin Davies,
Yes.
Betsy Straw.
Yes.
3-1, motion to approve tonight's agenda as is passes. And then we move on to approval of the minutes. Do we have a motion to approve Village Board of Trustee meeting minutes from January 17th, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Jeff and a second by Dan.
Mr. President, could I make a quick comment as to the minutes?
Yes.
I was reviewing the Open Meetings Act, and that requires meeting minutes to be approved in 30 days that a meeting is held, or by the second subsequent regular meeting thereafter. And this is January 17th minutes, which should have been approved, I believe, by the end of February. So I think as a regular practice, perhaps, we have not been following the Open Meetings Act. Also aware that back in December, the clerk was not here and the village attorney had to take over, and they charged some $300-something to do the minutes. I think it's an issue. I just wanted to make everybody aware that we need these minutes to be prepared in a timely manner so we can vote on them.
Sounds fair.
I'm sorry that I got shingles. Just, I will be better since Austin's never once talked to me in my life.
We never had a clue.
No one's ever asked why. Instead of making a big deal out of an open meeting, maybe an email should have been done. But, let's vote.
All right, I had one other quick question about the agenda. I noticed on the top of it, it said roll call or call to order by President Sattler, but I'm not part of the roll call. I think that was this. I think that was this one I was looking at.
The 17th?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, that was my bad. If someone wants to make an amendment to add it, I just didn't add you. I handwrite the roll call.
Yeah, yeah.
It was a simple Scribner's error.
Yep. Had a motion to add my name to, shall I make the motion?
We need a motion.
I would move to
So
amend.
moved. Or second.
All right, we got a motion by Austin to add my name to the roll call. We got
Second.
a second by Betsy.
I seconded.
Oh, you did already?
Yes, sir.
I did
Sorry.
not hear you.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, all right, second by Jeff. And, I guess we could just do a voice, well, yeah, we could just do a voice vote on that. Those in favor to add my name to the roll call?
Yes.
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 Yep.
That leaves nobody against, so, we,
Not amendment.
so-
It's passed.
so we motion to amend the minutes from January 17th passed to add my name to the roll call. Now we need to vote on the approval of the agenda as amended,
Can I ask
Approval of the
can I
minutes.
ask
or
a
the minutes
question?
as amended.
In that scenario, if you were sick, who should do them then? I mean, if
The
someone is sick or gets hit by a bus, what would be our backup?
So Katie normally is my backup. On the 20th, December 20th, we both could not make it. it happens. We've had, other staff members, for example, when Katie and I were both at a training, Barb did it. This meeting, the attorney did it. I did most of the minutes, but if you remember the January 17th meeting, there was a lot of yelling, and I could not hear who did what, so she had to finish them. Because the recording just did not, people weren't using their mics, people were talking over each other, and the recording just didn't pick certain things up.
So if anyone can't hear when someone talks, call them out on it so that we have good minutes.
I can pull the recordings. I mean, it literally, what we do is we have a system where it translates them, and it's not 100%, but it literally will say, you know, it just skips 15 minutes because people aren't using their mics or they're yelling over and top of each other. Like, for example, last meeting, there's no way that one's going to be
So,
eligible.
didn't we learn at the Roberts Rules that the biggest thing is to have when you have the motion and what will, you know, what the vote was? Do we need all of the other
I put very
commentary?
little in there. If you've seen mine, less is more on mine. That's how my feelings is. That's how I was trained by the Clerks Association. But some of the motions, it would help the clerk's office immensely if you do it 90% of the time, if we make sure that we're Goings motion, Davies second, so then we can hear it. The problem with some of them is someone just calls the question right away, and we just don't know who does it. That's why I, as you can see, write extensive notes. The 20th, I wasn't here, so I just,
Okay.
All right. Okay, so now we need to vote to approve the minutes as amended.
Correct.
All right, roll call.
that's a voice vote too.
Voice vote.
Okay, voice vote to approve the minutes from January 17th as amended.
Yes.
Aye.
Any nays? No nays. So the minutes from January 17th are approved. Moving on to public comment. Do we have any public comment?
I do. Karen Neinbarger.
Make sure it's
Hello.
back on.
Oh, is it?
You gotta turn it on. Hold on. Let's make sure it doesn't sound like it's on, Ms. Nybarger. There it is.
Okay, is that better?
That's a lot better.
I'm here about last week's meeting. As you know, I attended last week's board workshop with the intention of being sworn in as a trustee. In preparation for the meeting, I looked at the village website to review the board package and the minutes of the previous meetings. I expected to see the January minutes online and the February minutes in the package. The latest minutes available were from December 13th, 2023. The Open Meetings Act says minutes should be available for public inspection within 10
Wow.
days after approval. I ask that the minutes be voted on and be put up on time. After the pledge to the flag and roll call vote, the board spent 20 to 30 minutes on the agenda with several amendments and votes. This was done while the village attorney was billing in 10-minute increments. It was a very expensive agenda decision and should never have happened. First, I was surprised that I would be voted on and sworn in after the executive session. The objection to my being sworn in immediately was that I shouldn't be in the executive session to hear the discussion. Don't you think that I would be able to read the minutes of that meeting, or that as a board member I would be entrusted with the facts before me to vote responsibly, or that I could keep confidentiality? My conclusion was that the vote was already set up and I might change that. The second items 8 and 9 on the agenda were two different motions on the same issue. The objection was that one
Very nice. Thank you. This needed to be said. Thank you very much. It's a wake-up call for all of us. Should be, at least.
Any more public comment? All right. Moving on to department reports. Engineering report, I guess Chris is not here tonight. We, yes, yep, he said he was sick and he's been fighting quite the cold and he couldn't make it. So, everybody had a chance to look at his report. Moving on to Public Works report, David. Go ahead, David, you were about to say something,
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on Jeff's comment about the truck repair. So that actually, they billed it as one invoice,
We
but
can't.
it's two separate.
We can't hear you. These might,
So it went in on 118 for a fuel pump repair and a bad circuit breaker to the batteries. When we got it back, we were still having some fuel issues. It was getting air into the lines, and the fuel filter housing ended up damaged by the old pump. So it did go back in for a second repair. And that's how that ended up being more than what it typically would have been. But it was two separate repairs, two separate jobs a month.
all right. Sounds good,
Thank you.
thank you. Moving on to treasurer's report, Karina, did you have something to add? You all right? Test is not here, wastewater report, everybody had an opportunity to read that in the packet. Moving on to new business.
Real quick,
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, I don't want to
Go ahead.
interrupt, but, I did speak with David for an update on test. I do go down there quite often, visit. I look for Ion and I speak with him. David just said really hasn't been any issues. Ion reported on the last things when he was at the meeting that he was here, I think it was December. He did have a new baby, Ion did, just so you know, but just give you a little heads up.
Thank you. Moving on to new business, do we have a motion to discuss and approve check disbursements for payments scheduled to be paid prior to March 31st, 2024 in the amount of $635,819.90 in AP checks, $17,487.41 in insurance expense checks, and $23,744.53 in EFTS, for a total of $677,000 and $677,051.84. And
The blunt of this is for public works payments.
hold on, we need
Do
a
we get a
motion
motion?
and
Oh,
a
I'm
second.
sorry, yes, yes.
we got a motion there to discuss, is that,
Was that you?
So moved.
yeah, motion by
Sorry.
Jeff,
Second.
and a second by Dan.
Okay, now what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say the majority of this is for public works payments to the builder, just so everyone knows. And this should have been in your thing, in your packet.
I would like, Austin, yeah, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, as far as approving the check disbursements, I'd like to see in the agenda packets all of the descriptions and line items for everything and the totals in the reports for what we're going to be approving. We received an email from the deputy clerk with some of that information, but it doesn't amount to all the numbers here, I don't think. So it's kind of hard to determine if these numbers jive, and they should all be in the agenda packet, I think, so we can review those in better detail. So I have a hard time approving this when I don't feel that I have all the information that I need.
No, it was not. a separate email.
All right,
Well, it will be in there, excuse me.
Karina's
Karina has her hand up.
yes, Karina.
Okay. The reason that we don't see everything, because everything doesn't come from the accounts payable module. Therefore, it will always be impossible to show the total. The other reason is that some of those EFT
But we have a total.
We have a total based on what is currently in the system. And that's why the AP ones are separate from the insurance checks and the EFTs.
Mr. President?
Yes, go ahead.
So is it possible to do a summarized spreadsheet then with laying out, what you're talking about? So we have those totals and we understand what each of those are. We do have the check register, but that doesn't show everything.
The check register will only show the vendor and the dollar amount paid. So if you want to see line items and not have to deal with that invoice,
I'm not talking about the line items. The check register wasn't totaled that we saw.
Can you speak in a little bit deeper?
The check register wasn't totaled that we saw. And that's where my confusion came from as well. I'm glad that you had the same confusion, Austin.
I'm not sure what's in total. The only thing that's not
Can you
total
scroll down to the,
doesn't provide a total.
There's,
But the
it's not in the
check
packet.
register that
there's a list of checks paid in there.
Yeah, we got a list of checks paid. It has no total in it. And then if we could say,
If you click on 4, it
you
should take
know,
you down to the right.
the check register doesn't
Yeah.
total, then there's gotta be a report, like a settlement report that we could see that says, here was the settlement report of the checks, and then here's the settlement report for the EFTs showing the lines that are in that settlement.
Okay, but the EFTs didn't exist by the time this report was done. So I have to do them based on calculating when they would be cut.
So then maybe a summary saying, these are the
So it would be something that
EFTs.
would generate outside of the financial system. Do you want to see
But that's-
those
that-
reports that are manipulated by this Excel spreadsheet?
We're not seeing all the numbers today, is my concern. And I think it's Austin's concern too, because we're not seeing a total. So we have no way to know.
But you do have the total of 635, 819.90. All that is a part of the invoice report that you were given.
What we were given had no total on it.
Right, the report doesn't total.
If you scroll down at the bottom of the report.
That's from
That's from February.
That report that she's bringing up right
That's
there,
from February.
that is from last month, and that is the total checks that was paid out last month,
last month.
including, all the insurance checks and payroll and EFTPS.
But that's not what we see before we approve these.
Right, so if you want to see that information before it is available and cut, I would have to manipulate the report as it comes out and
S-
change it in Excel.
I'm not asking for you to manipulate a report. I'm just asking you to do a spreadsheet that shows here's the check register, here's the total of what you've cut already, here are the EFT amounts, so we can understand the 677. We don't even have a check register that shows the 635.
That information I went through with Jeff, which is the typical way we're doing it, is the finance chair reviews everything that's going to be, reviews it, we get the totals. Now, if the board wants to see that information as well,
I think so.
then we'll give the
Yeah.
board.
I think so.
There's a question. Karina, is it the system that you use, is it out of date? Does it need to be updated?
No.
No.
I can't run report for information that is not in the system yet. It's
Okay.
not possible.
So
You
here's
can-
my question. Like the one that, number 4, Kitty.
You're on 4.
Okay, this report from last month, this has the total at the bottom, 700, whatever it is.
So that is a reflection of everything that was paid.
Right.
last month.
So how do we get this, like this, in advance for the board meeting?
It will be an estimated amount, because there's still checks that could be cut after this is generated. So if we will have 2 reports, and the report I'm gonna give you in the beginning, for like today, will not match what that report looks like at next month, because the numbers have changed.
So are you saying that the 677 that we're voting on isn't what's going to be paid?
Correct. There may be other items on there. For instance, payroll's not in there.
So it'll be higher.
It will be higher, yes.
So if we can get a report of what's estimated in this and what's actual. So what, you can run a settlement report and say, I'm gonna pay from here to here. My settlement report's going to say, this is what this is what I'm gonna pay. And if you've already cut checks, you would already have the check register for what's been cut. Then you would have a settlement report for what's not been cut, which is where you're getting your numbers from, and it would show that and total it.
I don't have the numbers on what has not been cut yet all the time.
They're not in the system to be paid yet, is what you're saying. So then that would require another, line item saying, here are the checks, here's the estimate of what we're going to pay, to be clear to all of our constituents, that says, here's what we've cut, here's what we're estimating to be cut, and here's what the board's voting on.
But
Because if there's a change, we should vote on it the next time when the actual happens.
so we'd be a month behind. Wouldn't we?
You're voting on an estimate,
Right.
you're voting on an actual, because checks have already been cut, correct?
Correct.
So you have an actual of what's been cut, then we would vote on here's what Karina is estimating, because that's what these numbers are, they're estimates. And then it's clear, and then when the actuals happen, we say, it's very clear to everybody to say, here was the check register that we had at this meeting that we voted on, here was the estimate, here was the actual that happened.
All before the meeting in our packet.
I'm
There's
saying,
time. I understand what you're saying. Can I ask you a question? You do this at your job,
I have to get approval for payments, yes.
okay. You don't have to go before a board, correct? Present it to
I
the
work
board.
for the state of Wisconsin.
Okay, I'm not questioning that where you work. Is there a different type of software that you use from what the village has?
It is, but she still should be, Karina, when you run a settlement, you have a total for your settlement. You know, you can run a pre-settlement you should be able to run a pre-settlement to say, what are my outstandings from this date to this date? That's how you get an estimate number, correct?
Correct.
So if that's a report that you can say, here's what I'm using for my estimate, here's my actual, here's my estimate, here's what I'm asking the board to vote on. I don't feel like this is complete, because that's not clear to everybody.
So this is.
There's other things that, like, for instance, union dues
Huh?
are paid at the very last, day of the month. It's never gonna be anywhere, but if I add it in for the payroll in the Poplar report, then it will be there.
So if we have,
So
you can
there's
estimate it,
several things that never is gonna be part of that, but I can itemize those, but it's gonna be an estimate.
well, you must be itemizing them to be able to give us this number already.
No, we're talking about two different things, but whatever you guys want, I will do it, and it will be what it will be. And I will spell out.
Do you understand what I'm asking for, Jeff?
Mhm.
Because then
I do.
the next month, we see what the actual was from what we voted on.
Right, so that's what you want. So the following month, we'll see the actuals. So it's basically like number 4, like you gave us here. These are the actuals from February, correct?
So there were two different reports for February, so then we did March. So in April, you're gonna have a March, and you're gonna have an April.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
Is that okay?
yeah, because then
That's fine.
then we see it. We know what we voted on, and then we can ask
just
if there's,
headline 'em
what the difference is,
as-
and we can see the line.
Most of these checks will have already been mailed out, so.
We have to pay our
Understood.
bills, we're gonna pay
I
them
understand you
regardless.
have to pay your bills, but then we can obviously say, okay, what was the differences? It's clear to us in the accounting of what the differences were. We voted on this. If it was significant, it probably should have be voted on again. If it changes significantly, do we have an ordinance for that?
Good question.
Well, I mean, the checks wouldn't necessarily be that, unless there is something specific that arises at the end of that. Like a truck getting in a accident and we need to, do something. The main thing
is a CYA for everybody, okay? This is what we're requesting, this is what we're voting on, this is what actually happened, and here's the difference.
That's fair. Change is good for
I will do my best.
I had one other question too. The complete invoice history report, or invoices paid, it's been referred to, one and the same. That used to be in the agenda packets prior to 2020, or prior to December 2020.
And the finance chair at the time, we decided it wasn't gonna be there. We were gonna go with what I had been given to Jeff and that I gave Christie. Same information they review it, that they are in agreement what is on the document they paid.
But,
Right.
but
Now
that,
we have it back in there, so,
It's back in there.
yeah,
well, I sent it ahead of time because it doesn't have totals, and again, it's very misleading to put in that report in the packet.
well, I don't think it's completely misleading. Yes, you've already explained yourself how some things are not yet in there, but it will show up in the next month then, in the next report.
No, not in that one, because that invoice history report is never, ever gonna include anything but whatever, only the things that have been entered in accounts payable, nothing else. Never ever.
Right, and that's,
So Don, do
Important
you
for
want it,
everybody
do you
to
want
see.
it, do you want it in the packet? Do you want it monthly in the packet?
it should be.
Okay, Karina, can we just put it in, and then if they question it, you're gonna have to explain to them, it's not gonna match.
How many months would you like it?
No, he just wants it going forward, sir.
I was asked to put in both January, February, and March. So what months would you like to see next month?
In a monthly agenda report, wouldn't you put in a monthly?
What I would have done this month, I would have had.
You're gonna be a
March
month behind.
in there,
For the following.
because March is what's on the agenda to be voted on.
Uh-huh. So, so you put in what you have.
Sorry, Betsy, what months would you like to see?
Going back, I mean, I'd like to see, so next month, I'd like to see, we voted on 677, and I'd like to see what the actuals were and the difference.
Okay, we're talking about the invoice history report. If I'm gonna put in, do you wanna see 1 month or 2 months?
Well, you want to,
Because there may not have been any changes to the one report that was in the package today. But I can reprint it again and then do a separate report for April.
If 2 months is more thorough and more reflective, then put 2 months in.
If nothing additional was posted in the AP side, there will be no difference in the report.
then it can show that.
Is that all right?
So you would still run it in there. I can put it in.
Yeah,
So do you want that in her, just so that the clerk's offices, do you want that in her, the previous month in her report and the current month on the bills? I just need to know what to add to the agenda
It's a good
correctly.
question. The summary of what happened could definitely be in her report. And then the current bills of what we're asking for with the details, just like we've said, this is what we're asking for.
That's what
Here's
I
the
looked at.
estimate for the next month.
So like what we used to do.
I don't think we've ever had 2 months,
No, she's asking for,
so we want 2 months.
no. She's asking for,
I'm asking for the accounting from the prior month
month.
to be in the report.
Report.
And then for the new report to say, just like we talked about, what's been paid already, and then what the assumptions are and why we're voting on this number.
That makes sense.
Okay, I'll try both, we'll see what, I'll send it out ahead of time, and you guys can, let me know if you wanna make changes to it.
Okay.
That's fair.
all right.
So in her report, we'll see this month's So for next month, we'll see this month's finals.
Before next month, I'll send something else to you to see what you're gonna get.
Okay?
Give you a couple of days.
It was very helpful too, what Katie sent out,
With the Adobe.
with the links to the
Yeah.
credit card invoicing and all that.
Do you want that monthly?
That'd be great.
We gotta let her know.
Just-
Well, that would be Carrie, right? Or Karina?
It doesn't matter.
Katie's the one that sent us the links.
Katie just did it for me,
Mhm.
so I was looking for something else.
Let me ask you this, is it time consuming to do that? Did it take her a long time? Question, just a question.
Not really.
Okay, good. What they're asking you to do, is that gonna consume more of your time, or is that just printing out reports?
I think once we get what everybody wants, it's gonna take a little bit more time, but we'll leave.
Okay. Fair, everyone?
All right.
Anything else?
I would like to talk to you about that program that you're talking about for the scanning, because I've worked with several to keep AP invoices in.
I think it'd be great.
That'd
It'd
be
be
a
a
good
lot
idea.
easier.
Huh?
No, what program you're gonna use to keep them in an electronic format.
Module, you said?
The module, yeah. So when she gets the information, do you want her to forward it to you? She gets it
Yeah.
from our module company?
Yeah.
That'd be great.
What is it, BS,
We
BNA?
can set up a Zoom meeting if nothing else, and I can show you, because we already have it in the table, it's not
So you're putting them as attachments with the invoices?
correct.
That's better, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, usually it is, because then you have a,
Well,
so we
just,
can
I
talk
mean,
about it.
we,
I'll call you, Karina,
There you
okay?
go. just there was a lot of time spent getting Mr. Sattler this information, and we could have had this module and been money ahead.
Okay, we'll look at that.
Okay, great.
All right. Yeah, we got a motion to approve the bills on the floor here, for item number 6. Roll call vote?
Dan Cheek,
Yes.
Jeff Goings.
Yes.
Austin Davies,
Yes.
Betsy Straw.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm tired.
All right. The total of $677,051.84 was approved. Moving on to item number 7, do we have a motion to discuss and approve staff lockers for the new Public Works building for $3,789.43?
So moved.
Motion by Jeff.
Second.
Second by Dan. I believe these were lockers.
I have a
Yes,
question.
go ahead, Jeff.
I spoke to David about this.
Yes.
To me, I don't think it's a necessity, I ask him to hold off on them before we do it. I work with a lot of people, I work with my company does not provide me with lockers for my personal belongings. I carry all my PPE, my company does provide me with unlimited, protective gear. And we do not have lockers or facilities where we store our own stuff. We do provide coveralls, boots to our employees. I think it should be their responsibility. To me, for now, if they would like, I would say give him an allowance to go, and they have cubby holes. If you guys walk back here, they have like little cubbies that they hang their stuff in, right here in the back room. I think something like that would be more for them, because it's basically hanging their overalls, their jackets, stuff that they use here. I think that would be better than providing $4,000 where we would probably spend $800 for some 2x4s and let them do that along that wall there. And I get it, it's for organization, so I'm applicable for that, but like I said, I'm not providing any of this locker stuff through my work. They're union, I'm union, and I never had an issue with it. I maintain my own uniforms, I maintain my own equipment for my job. So I would like to recommend that we do that, and if you guys have discussion. I spoke with David about it, he said he was okay with it.
Yes, Dan.
That's actually the first thing I did when I walked in was look back there, 'cause I couldn't remember, we had been back there so long, right? And it's just, originally I was thinking that they had actual lockers back there, so we could repurpose them and just move them, but Then I went back and I seen there were wood, and it's worked this long.
Yeah. Been there for a long
I
time.
mean, that building's been hemorrhaging money.
Yep.
It has.
Jeff said at the moment, it's not, down the road, I'm not saying down the road it couldn't be done,
Right.
but as of right now, it's, get it up and running, let's get it rolling, I mean, I don't see this, like, I agree with you, Jeff, and I don't see it being a necessity at the moment.
Since we already spent money on the air and
Airlines,
and
yeah.
making that room another room and everything else, so,
I agree.
all right. Any other commentary?
So I have to withdraw my motion? Or no?
Well, you got a
Nope.
motion and a second. If you don't want to approve it, then you just vote no.
Vote no,
Yep.
okay.
So, all right, barring any other discussion, roll call.
Betsy Straw, no. Austin Davies,
No.
Dan Cheek,
No,
Jeff Goings.
No.
All right, item number 7, the lockers for 378943, fails. Moving on to item number 8, do we have a motion to discuss and approve resolution 2024-06, a resolution of the Village of Poplar Grove resolving to enter into a memorandum of understanding with Boone County for improvements to Beaver Road.
so moved.
Motion by Dan,
Second.
second by Betsy. This is actually the first I heard of this. Who put this
David.
on- Who put this on the agenda?
Yeah.
Improvement project, we're entering into a partnership with the county / Poplar Township on this road, not on the Ford Road, because it is a split ownership of the Ford Road. Basically, this memorandum of agreement, puts us in a partnership with them, and under them, the village would be responsible solely for patching ahead of time, which I'm gonna coordinate with the township, see how they're gonna go about patching. The roadway will then be resurfaced under a contractor that is retained by the county. And then after resurfacing, it'll be the county that comes back through and shoulders the road and stripes the road. But this will be done just like Orange Road, just flip potholes, as the majority of the ownership of Beaver Road is by Poplar Township.
Done.
Yes, go ahead.
Dan has his hand up.
I thought we were just, pulverizing our section.
It's a minimum bill, but there's, like, there's patch work that has to be done.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yes, it is another resurface.
All right. Is there there's no dollar amount on this here?
Servitude.
73.
Our share of this, is
73,000.
73,000. That's obviously estimated prior to this. Bid letting right now has been delayed by the county because there are other townships that they represent that are changing projects. So they're planning on bid letting at the end of this month or beginning of next month.
So this is an estimate bid of the 73, and then if it's lower,
This is Chris Dawkins.
estimate. I remember Chris talking about
For
it.
every other road project we do.
Right. We save money when we combine the project with the township or the county,
Yeah,
because once all the trucks are.
Mobilization.
Mobilization, everything like that.
Beaver Road, is this is then east of Poplar Grove Road?
Just south of the bridge that was just recently redone, east of Poplar.
So is that, it's at, it ends then at, wait, what's the intersection just?
Beaverton.
Okay.
See the blue line?
It
Yeah.
had a lot of traffic this last year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So it was in bad condition prior to that, and when we discussed with the county and the township, again, this, I touched on this last week or the meeting before, originally, the township was leaning towards Beaverton. However, after Mike and I went out and drove the roads that were under consideration for partnership, it was clear that Beaver was
Mr. President.
Did
Were you
have
done?
something to
I'm
say, Jeff?
sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, if you want.
So typically, the county does that for the townships, and that's why we're going this route to sign this, because that's what the county does, is they do the bidding for the townships. Yep.
All the townships of Boone County operate their bidding process through the county. And so this MOU would be with a combination.
Helps us. Yep.
I have a question.
Yes, Jeff.
I don't know if this is a silly question or not. This part of the road, it's in our it's in our village?
Yeah.
Okay. Do we ever consider like letting roads go to the, like where we don't wanna have them and we give them to the township? Or can you do that? I don't know.
No, they're annexed in based on
Right.
properties.
Okay.
So if someone lives on the corner of, so I'll take Beaverton Road, for example. There are 3 separate sections of Beaverton Road, and as you guys all know, if you traveled it, it's a lot of curves and jives.
Right.
When a parcel wants to annex into the village, if we approve that annexation, if they touch a section of road, we are also annexing that
That
section.
road.
So the only way to, say, give this road up, per se, would be to convince that property owner to annex it out of the village.
Okay.
Now, that being said, we do, we work together with the other areas of these, or other ownership of these roads to maintain, but
Okay.
The
I
only-
was just curious. I never asked that question. I didn't know how that worked.
I have one more question, because I know township stuff. So if you're annexed on the one side but not on the other, then you come to an agreement on who does, because it's stupid to do only one half of the road. So you have agreements, kind of gentleman agreements, is that what you do now?
No, so under Illinois law, when you annex, and let's say that property that's being annexed is on a township road, you annex to the far side of the road, is what
So
our
it's
state
the int-
statute.
Right,
Yeah.
but what I'm trying to say is an example of a county road, or between 2 townships, that's, so who would do that? And in this scenario, if you have, where Leroy and Manchester meet, as an example, they each would do half of the road, so they make a gentleman's agreement, so one does the north half, one does the south half, because they're going up and down. Do you have anything like that? That's what I'm getting at.
For like towns?
Yep, I think, yeah.
So
Yeah.
we do it, the township on, North Road and Beaver Road actually. So we plow the entire North Road. There's no sense in obviously picking up your plow 3/4 way
Right.
up the road. And the amount that they own the North Road is similar to Beaver, so that we do have, that situation.
Agreement.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wasn't clear, but I knew what I wanted to say, it's just,
I was just curious, the 73,000, that fits into the budget of this ending year? Or, this was,
That 73,000 was in, this project has already been approved in the capital plan.
gotcha.
That, for
Gotcha.
next year. So you guys approved our road projects, again, I don't know, it was 2 or 3 meetings ago. This project was in there, we are now just presenting the MOU to partner with the, township and county.
Yeah, Chris talked about this.
Gotcha. All right.
Thank you, David.
Beaver Road, that project, that 73,000 was included in the road division capital fund for, our road improvement program for next year.
Gotcha. All right. Any more questions? All right. Roll call.
Betsy Straw,
yes.
Jeff Goings,
Yes.
Austin Davies.
Yes.
Dan Sheik.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-06 passes. Moving on to item number 9. We got a motion to discuss and approve joint participation agreement with the Central Management Services for the purchase of rock salt for a calendar year 2024 and calendar year 2025.
So this is something new this
You
year.
got a motion?
Hold on. So moved.
Got
Second.
a motion by Jeff and a second by Dan. Now you can go ahead, Dave.
So this is something new this year that IDOT is doing, the state of Illinois is doing. So there's a fillable form that every year I go on and fill out
Yes.
And that certification, I think also then just says that, also includes language that, hey, this was voted on, it was approved by the board. There, so kind of classic certification, language in this there. It kind of makes sense now to me though, that they've added this certification, because if all they've ever required, all the municipalities that participate in going in and buying salt together was, hey, fill this online form out there. They don't know if you guys, every community voted on that expenditure or not. So now at least they get some paperwork to kind of cover their tail that, oh yeah, you've indicated that you voted on this buying of rock salt there. So I think this is more so to help the state out.
Yeah, I assume there was an issue taken with the state
Yeah.
on salt purchases.
So this is just a, approval of the agreement to purchase.
Approval to allow me to enter into the agreement to purchase from the state.
All right. And then we, however many tons you buy,
So we have, last year we went from 550, 2 years ago we were at 550. Last year we entered 600 tons, and I entered 600 tons this year as well. That seems to be the appropriate ballpark for usage. That gets us to typically about a half full shed at the end of the season, and gives us some going into the next season. But that 600 tonnage seems to be the right number for the village.
is that in a couple of deliveries, or is that just,
So our salt shed is only capable of holding 120 tons.
okay,
So yeah, it's a lot of deliveries actually.
all right,
And it would be, I'm guessing, when our
yeah. What, do we just have a incremental payment on that or something, or? Yeah,
They bill it as we use, you said,
yeah.
as we take it? I have a question. Did we move any of the salt that we had at the county? Is that all gone?
Yeah, that's, yeah.
Okay. I knew we were storing some.
all right.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All right, roll call.
Austin Davies,
Yes.
Jeff Goings,
Yes.
Betsy Straw,
Yes.
Dan Cheek.
Yes.
All right, the motion to discuss, or the motion to approve joint participation agreement with Central Management Services for the purchase of rock salt for calendar year 24 and 25 passes. And moving on to item number 10, do we got a motion to discuss and approve a professional services agreement between the Village of Poplar Grove and Bel Air Estates?
I would so move.
We got a motion by Austin
Second.
and a second by Dan. Yes, go ahead, Aaron. That was a pretty complicated thing here I was looking at.
So this is a standard agreement that we require developers, anyone who comes and applies for like a large, needs like a big zoning request there. Anytime, so this obviously is the airport project where he's wanting to, to do those residential units inside the hangars there, so he's needing to amend his special use permit, he's submitted plans and all this sort of stuff. Well, anytime there's an application, and it doesn't even have to be the airport, it could be like a solar project, whatever it's been. Anytime that Chris has to look at stuff and look at their drawings, and Ken has to look at, setbacks and stuff, all that sort of stuff, I have to look at the legal components of it. The village incurs fees. So like many other municipalities, a few years ago, we implemented that and said, hey, developer, if you have this project, you're gonna reimburse the village for the fees that it incurs from its consultants. So we have this agreement, it's part of our ordinance and everything like that. We do bring the approval of the agreement before the board. Mr. Thomas, in this particular case, has already signed the agreement. He's agreeable to it. I think he's put about $6,500 down. The agreement basically says that, hey, as we consultants get paid out of this, if heaven forbid the project still needs more review and whatever, you'll replenish. It's kind of like a replenishing escrow account there.
And
So
you
that's
hold-
what this agreement is.
You hold the escrow?
No, the village does.
The village holds
Yeah,
it?
yeah. So. But again, this is just something to say that, hey, frankly, it puts a little skin on the developer to not just come into a town, say, hey, I got an idea, have staff look at a whole bunch of stuff, and then they say, maybe
Yeah.
not, you know, so.
Kind of skin in the game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it makes you guys whole, so that you don't have to, you know, just, you know, because a lot of times things don't pan out, you know, they look at it, they start presenting plans and they realize, oh, maybe, you know, whatever it is, the soil wasn't right, it's not gonna be right for my development, so they go, and that's fine, but now the village has expended costs, so it's about keeping the village kind of kept as whole as possible.
Yep. Sounds fair. Yeah, and there was a couple of emails that had all kinds of details in that. That's going to planning and zoning. April? Okay. All right. Any further discussion? Any questions? Anybody else? Okay. All right, roll call.
Dan Cheek,
Yes.
Austin Davies,
Yes.
Jeff Goings.
Yes.
Betsy Straw. Yes.
The professional service agreement between the village and Poplar Grove and Bel Air Estates is approved. Let's see, are we gonna breeze through for the good of the village and then move into executive session? For the good of the village, item number 11, there's a special Board of Trustee meeting on April 4th at 7 PM. There's a Board of Trustee meeting, a regular one on April 10 at 7 PM, and then the other regular one on April 17th at 7 PM. And then there's a planning and zoning meeting April 24th at 6 PM. And I guess, do we have a motion to go into executive session?
I'll move.
We got a motion by Austin to go into executive session.
Second.
Okay. The motion to go into executive session, according to 5 ILCS 120/2C, parentheses 1, for personnel, the appointment, employment consideration, discipline, or compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body. We have a motion by Austin
Second.
and a second by Dan. And so, what? Roll call? Oh, okay. Roll call, I guess, to go into executive session.
Betsy Straw. Yes. Austin Davies,
Yes.
Jeff Goings,
No.
Dan Cheek.
Yes.
All right, 3-1, executive session is approved, go into. And so, thank you for attending.
Have a good night, well, Annie, Dan.
I will go turn off my cameras.